Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Diggs. It's another beautiful day out here in the Pacific Northwest. Today, we're going to be doing our 2020 VC tier list, and this is really controversial, guys. And, I did this once before on stream, and people got just like a little bit upset. And I know you've been seeing me do a lot of tier lists. I promise this is the last tier list I'm going to be doing for a while. So here we go. Don't get too angry at me. All right, guys. So before I jump too far into it, I don't really know all the VC cards off the top of my head. What I can tell you, though, is there's some VC cards that are dumpster tier, like the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles card. Now, Ifrit is definitely a generalized S tier. Moraga as well. Oh god. Moraga is definitely a generalized S tier as well. Now, what are the criterias I'm using for S tier versus S tier niche tier? So what I would consider like a niche card would be something like Diablos. Okay, hold on. Okay. I think Diablos is a very niche S ranked card, right? So yes, in certain circumstances or in the top 5%, Diablos can be a very powerful card, but he's very niche. He's for dark slash comps specifically. That's all you're going to use him for. So if you do have that composition, you might be winning a lot of guild battles and you might be relying on the Diablos card a lot, but it's still niche, guys. I'm sorry, I can't lock my templates, you guys. So along with Diablos, we're just going to put Tetrasulfid right here, right next to him. Shiva is also going to go into the S niche. Actually, I'm going to put Shiva in the S tier because Shiva also has high base magic. So I think high base magic is going to be pretty good for Shiva to go into the generalized S tier, because there are times where you just need a card with high magic and there's not very many of them. And Shiva's party abilities are actually pretty good. Let's talk about the Moogle card. I'm going to put the Moogle card under S tier as well, because it actually has a lot of accuracy and it was given to everybody for free with the capability to fully max it out. And I think people underestimate how powerful the new Moogle card is that we got. Let's talk about Ochu. Ochu's probably a C tier. There's just other cards that do things better. Actually, we're going to do B tier, because it's reasonably decent. C tier is going to be like really niche status effect cards, or cards that are like not crazy good. So like Tomberry, I would put in C, because Tomberry's primary function is to give you disable resistance, right? So if you're in a situation where you maybe want a status ailment resisted, that's the sole reason you're going to be putting Tomberry on. So it has very niche, like small use, but it's not that good of a card overall to level. I'm going to put the Snow White Guard, I'm going to put under A probably, just because there's a lot of people who find some use out of this card. And I really think that, this is one of the more powerful defensive option cards that we do have in the game right now. Birth of New Life, I'm going to put into A because it's really for like the budget beginning evasion comp, and it also adds some accuracy if you need it. Never seen anybody really use the Final Fantasy XIV cards, so I'm just going to throw it in the dumpster right now. While we're at it, let's go ahead and throw some more stuff in the dumpster. We got all of these normal cards here that nobody is ever going to use in their right mind, right? So we're just going to throw all of these cards in there. Okay, guys? You think this tier list is looking decent? I mean, okay, I'm glad you approve. We're just going to stack them all up because, let's be honest, none of you guys really know what these cards do, right? Like, there's a couple of them that you actually want to have, right? Like, this one is very niche, the Crystal Sanctum card for accuracy. The Horn card for attack is also pretty niche as well, especially if you're a beginner player. And then the Wazette card is really good for Toad resistance, so again, you're seeing that status ailment resistance. But most of the other ones are just going to go into the dumpster here, and we're just going to stack them on. Because let's be honest, you don't want to hear me go over every single one of these dumpster tier cards, right, guys? Leona's Castle, though, one of the few cards that I will actually rank S tier. And I actually think that Leona's Castle, out of all the cards in the game, is the best card for experience ratio that you can possibly get. Along with that, I also think the Job Crystal card is S tier, and while you do have to pay for it, I think it's reasonably worth the burden since it is actually one of the best cards you can get. Now, Cactar, I'm going to put in C tier. You might utilize Cactar for either some crit or some, agility up. This card, actually, I'm going to put into B tier. Now, I don't know the name of this card off the top of my head, but I have a use for this card in my head, and this is the SR card with Reaper Killer on it. And back when I first started in the game, there was a skeleton fight that I actually needed help killing. And I was actually able to use this card, and ever since, whenever I've gone against, skeletons or Reaper class monsters, I always think about this card as being a card that had actually helped me. The bomb card, I'm going to give it to B as well, just because it has some reasonable stats on it. It's not too crazy, and if you're a new player, you might actually find yourself using it. We do have the Golem card, which we're just going to dumpster. This card here, I actually am going to dumpster just because I think Birth of New Life is better, and it doesn't really serve a purpose. Very similar with the Zoo card. Baelo card is going to be crit damage, but you're really not going to be building for critical hit rate. Lodi does have some status ailment resistance, so we are going to throw that into C tier. This is one of the other B tiers, is the Little Leela card and the Rairyuu card. These actually have some really good party benefits, and you're going to actually find some use for these. So if there were some cards I feel like everybody should level, it would probably be the Little Leela, the Job Crystal, Leona's Castle. Actually, you know what? I'm going to throw Little Leela in S tier. Not because she's like a god tier card, right? But because I feel like this is a card that everybody should have leveled in their toolkit, whether you're a free-to-play player or you're not a free-to-play player, right? Like, this is a card you should just have if you're new to the game. All right, now I got some crap about the Four Kings card, so I'm going to put the Four Kings card into the C area previously. So Four Kings is so powerful if you are doing a critical hit rate build. Nobody does those builds though, so we're going to leave it in C tier. The AP up or JP up card that you can get from the Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles event, I'm going to put in B tier. It's pretty niche, but it's very good, and if you do manage to pull it, like, delicious, right? So good. A lot of people were upset with my Red Chocobo pick because I put Red Chocobo in S tier previously. Well, I'm going to put it in S tier niche because if you are running a holy composition, Red Chocobo is going to be a very good card, and I personally love it a lot. Just going to dumpster some of these useless cards. The Lamia card I actually think is A tier. When I do run fire compositions, I do actually find myself running Lamia quite often. So I will put Lamia in A tier because I do believe she does have some uses. Very similar to the Lilith and Ramada card here. It helps. This is the Charm Resistance card, if I remember right. So I'm going to put it in B tier just because this is a little bit more useful than something like Toad Resistance, because you're actually going to see Charm Resistance quite a bit. This card, and let's see if I can find the other one here. Okay, these two cards are just like worse versions of other cards that exist, and there are other cards that are way better than this that are cheaper, for example. So I'm actually going to dumpster tier them, and there's a lot of people who like might think like, oh, but they're good cards, and they're absolutely good cards, but you could literally pull like a UR card, like base version, and it's going to be better than those cards, so I would not recommend investing in those. And I think one of them adds like slash attack and evasion, and it would just be better to have like Birth of New Life. So There's a lot of people who wanted me to put this card at a higher rank when I talked about the rankings previously. This is the Mind Flayer card. I think it's a really niche card. I actually think you shouldn't be running it very often. It's only really for like magic damage cap breaking. I don't think it's too good. Ice resistance card. I'm actually going to put this in A tier. I think this is actually a really good card considering there's so many ice units in the meta. And you could actually get some use out of it if you did have it leveled. Secrets. Oh god, can never remember the name of this card. Holy shit. The slash attack up and agility up card. Can never remember the name of it, but it's going in S tier. This is another one of those cards that everybody should just have leveled. You should keep it up, you should have it. Whether you're free to play, whether you're pay to win, you're going to find a use for this card, particularly if you're trying to hit certain agility tiers. Secret orders, thank you chat. Very similarly, Vow of Love is also going to go in S tier, just because Vow of Love is so essential for a lot of different strategies. You're going to need it, you're going to use it, get it, level it, and make sure you're using it. Fun fact as well, Vow of Love, I actually, when I first started playing the game, Vow of Love was one of the cards that I could not, for the life of me, pull. And oh my god, the day that I got Vow of Love, I was so excited. You guys don't even know right now. Iron Giant. I'm actually going to put Iron Giant in A tier just because he's a good defensive and offensive card. Very similar with the Aquatic New Year card as well. There's a lot of aquatic type enemies. And I don't think people realize how many aquatic type enemies there are. So it's a really useful card to have. Missile resistance card going into A tier. Until recently, this was one of the only missile resistant cards that we do have. So put that in there. Defense up card, a little bit niche, but I'm going to put it in B for the Lilith card. Wind attack card, I think Tetrasulfid is just better. And I think even having like an NQ Tetrasulfid is pretty good. The Bloody Moon. So Daniel Boone actually pointed this out to me. If you don't have War Mech, if you don't have like limited time cards, Bloody Moon is the best area resistance card that there is in the game. So I'm actually going to put it under S tier niche. So if you don't have any of those area attack resistance lowering limited tier cards, actually having Bloody Moon leveled is a really important card to have for your composition. Clash, I looked at this card and I didn't want it. So I'm guessing it wasn't that good, so I'm just going to throw it in the dumpster. Malboro has its purpose, but it's pretty niche. I believe it's Confuse Resistance, but I can't remember off the top of my head. This card here, people wanted me to rank it higher because it had Light Killer on it, and I didn't really think it deserved to be rated higher, so I'm going to put it in C tier. Again, it's really niche. Nobody's really going to want to chase it. Chocobo card, easy S tier. Anything with party-wide agility up is going S tier, hands down, right? King Curry card. King Curry card is actually going to go under B tier, just because it's one of the only ways to raise shooting attack for a lot of the units if you don't have Frederica's Dream or the new Testing Dream. The Behemoth card is actually going to go into A tier because it's the only card that offers Pierce Resistance. And the Vadim card here, I have no idea what it does, so I'm just going to dumpster it. We've made it, you guys, and glad to see that chat is forgiving me and that you aren't as crazy as with the unit tier list. If you have made any mistakes, please tell me. But here we go. Trousseau S tier. Right? This is all going to be easy S tiers now. Frederica's Dream S tier, right? Like, why wouldn't you want Frederica's Dream S tier? It's one of the best shooting cards in the game. Fenrir S tier. One of the best magic resistance cards in the game. Titan I'm actually going to put under niche, just because you really have to have a unit to take advantage of it. War Mech is going to be S tier, of course, general S tier. Mobius card is also pretty niche. It gives missile resistance and magic up. It's a pretty niche card. I also, along those lines, think the Horn card is a little niche. I know a lot of people really are like, oh my god, but it's such a good card, but it's not generally good, right? Like, it's not a card that everybody's going to have. There's a lot of slash resistance piercing. I just don't think it's the best. Rama, general card, is really good. Glaciala's card, I'm going to put under niche as well, just because I think Pierce attack up paired with agility up can be really powerful. And having that agility up can be really important. So, is there really anywhere else that this fucking card can go? Everybody does not shut up about the Ramza card, so I'm just going to put it in S tier so I don't have to hear you guys bitching for a month. Test subjects. Well, yeah, I'm going to put it in A tier. I think Frederica's Dream is better than it, so... Secrets. This is a card that a lot of people want to see ranked in, like, general S tier. And I actually think it's a really niche card. It's a niche card for evasion comps. It's not like Shiva, where, like, if you're running a non-evasion comp, you can't just throw, like, the secret cards on for, like, magic up or attack up or something and still have reasonable benefit. It's a niche card, so... the Final Fantasy XIV UR card, someone pointed out to me that it was stronger than Red Chocobo. That's actually not true. The single unit effect on Red Chocobo I actually think is better than the Final Fantasy XIV card, and it's also an MR versus a UR. I'm actually going to put this in B tier. I actually don't think it's the best. We might see a resurgence of this, but with Bahamut coming out in the near future, it's definitely going to be gone as well. Critical damage up. We're just going to put it in C tier. Nobody's running a critical damage build. However, Overpowering Strength is one of the highest base attack cards in the game. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. The card here that I have, the Mont Victora, it's the Secret Masks card. I don't think it's that great. Same with Siren. Kind of just throw it. Actually, I think Siren... I'm going to put Siren in A tier because Siren has reasonable magic up, and I think is a pretty good card. Two-Headed Dragon is going to go into niche because you really only want to max Two-Headed Dragon if you're like a top-tier raider or you're going to be doing lots of other things. I think the new card that just came out for Dwayne is A tier probably. I think Gaion is going to be S tier. I know a lot of people were upset that I put it A tier previously, but I really think, I don't know, like Gaion is on the cusp for me. Exorcist card, though, definitely goes into S tier. It's so powerful. I think as long as you have a great sword user, it's amazing. The Final Fantasy Tactics Accuracy Reads card, really good. A tier. General, you don't have to have it, but it's okay. It's okay. Odin, S tier. Everybody should have this card. Everybody should level it. I don't even know what this card does, so I'm going to throw that over there. Calum, I'm going to put C tier. Golub, I'm going to put C tier. Just because you really only need max HP for, you know, specific builds like Drain Force. Glaciella Incadia card, the new downtime card that came out. I really don't think that's a big deal, so I'm going to go put it into B tier. The Area Resistance card that came out for Calculators, I'm going to put in S tier niche. The new Blossoms card I'm going to put in the UR. And then the Demon Wall card I'm going to put under niche as well. Alright guys, we made it. I hope this list, like, redeems me a little bit from the list I did on stream the other day. I know y'all went a little bonkers, and that's okay. But you guys, as always, if you are planning on supporting me, please use my affiliate link, dig.gs/coins, come to my Discord, say hi to me at dig.gs/discord. Hope you guys all have a great rest of your new year, and I'll talk to you guys soon, YouTube.